They told you not to take failure personally. They said it's just feedback, just a lesson, just part of the journey. They're wrong. Failure should cut deep. It should burn. It should keep you up at night, haunting your thoughts as you stare at the ceiling, replaying every mistake, every missed opportunity, every moment you fell short of your potential. Because when failure becomes personal, that's when your comeback story begins. Society has conditioned us to distance ourselves from failure. It's not you who failed. They say, it's just the attempt. This comfortable lie creates comfortable people living comfortable lives of quiet mediocrity. The greatest achievers throughout history, the ones who transformed industry, broke records, and left legacies that outlived them all, shared one trait. They took failure personally, very personally. Michael Jordan remembered every player who ever outscored him. Elon Musk slept on the factory floor when Tesla was weeks from bankruptcy. Oprah kept the rejection letter that told her she was UNT fit for television in her office for decades. They didn't separate themselves from their failures. They owned them, internalized them, allowed them to fuel something primal within. When failure becomes personal, it ignites a fire of transformation. This is UNA about ego or self-punishment tip. S about accepting a fundamental truth. Your results are a direct reflection of your actions, decisions, and character. The average person says, the circumstances weren't right. The exceptional person says, I wasn't right for the circumstances yet. This distinction isn't semantic. It's everything. Taking failure personally means acknowledging that you are the common denominator in every disappointment in your life. Your business didn't fail because the market changed. It failed because you didn't adapt quickly enough. Your relationship didn't end because these things happened. It ended because you lacked the skills or awareness to nurture it properly. This level of radical responsibility is uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. Transformation never happens within your comfort zone. Once failure becomes personal, discipline becomes non-negotiable. Discipline isn't motivation. Motivation is fickle a fair weather friend who abandons you precisely when you need it most. Discipline is the decision to continue when every fiber of your being screams to stop. The world is filled with talented failures people who had all the potential but lacked the discipline to convert that potential into excellence. Taking failure personally means understanding that talent without discipline is like having a Ferrari without fuel impressive to look at, but ultimately useless. Discipline means showing up when no one is watching, maintaining standards when no one would notice if you didn't, continuing when continuing feels impossible, keeping promises to yourself that would be easier to break when you take failure personally. You develop the discipline to endure the mundane, embrace the difficult, and persist through the painful because you understand that these daily, unglamorous actions are the very building blocks of your comeback. Those who take failure personally understand that proper preparation isn't just helpful, it's moral. To be unprepared is to disrespect yourself and everyone counting on you. The amateur hopes for success. The professional prepares for it meticulously. Every setback becomes a data point. Every criticism becomes intelligence. Every failure becomes a blueprint for future preparation. You begin to prepare not just for the obvious challenges, but for the invisible ones that blindside the unprepared. This level of preparation transforms anxiety into action. It converts fear into fuel. The voice that once whispered, "You're not ready," now confidently states, "Nothing can happen today that I have already faced in my mind and prepared for in my actions." Resilience isn't bouncing back. It's bouncing forward. Taking failure personally means understanding that resilience is you and I about returning to who you were before the fall. It is about using the fall to become someone new, someone stronger, someone who couldn't have existed without that very failure. Pain can break you, or it can forge you. The choice has always been yours. When failure cuts deep, you develop scar tissue. This tissue isn't weakness, it's reinforcement. It's the body's way of saying, never again will I be vulnerable in the same place. True resilience means building psychological scar tissue that makes you impervious to the same failures that once devastated you. Every time you choose to continue despite the weight of past failures, you're not just displaying and with each resilient act, the distance between who you are and who you're capable of becoming shrinks. True confidence isn't the absence of doubt, it's the presence of unshakable self-belief despite doubt. When you take failure personally, something counterintuitive happens. You develop genuine confidence, not the shallow, fragile confidence that needs constant external validation, but the deep, immovable confidence that comes from knowing exactly what you're capable of because you've tested yourself against your limits repeatedly. You stop seeking confidence and start building it through consistent action. Each failure confronted head-on deposits something valuable into your psychological bank account. Eventually, you accumulate enough evidence of your capacity to overcome that doubt becomes not an enemy, but merely an unimportant visitor acknowledged but never given authority. This is the confidence that radiates from those who have been broken and rebuilt themselves not despite their failures, but because of them. Your legacy isn't what you accomplish, it's what you overcome. The most compelling life stories aren't those of people who succeeded easily, but those who failed spectacularly and refused to be defined by those failures. Taking failure personally means understanding that every setback is writing your story. Every obstacle overcome becomes part of your legacy. Every moment of perseverance, despite pain, adds another chapter to the narrative of your life. The question isn't whether you'll fail, you will. The question is, will those failures be footnotes in your story, or will they be the defining moments that reveal your character? When failure becomes personal, you ensure that your legacy isn't measured by how many times you succeeded, but by how many times you were defeated and chose to rise again. So, take it personally when the business you poured your soul into collapses, the relationship you treasured disintegrates, the goal you sacrificed for remains unachieved, the recognition you deserved goes to someone else. Take it personally not to punish yourself, but to propel yourself. Let the pain of failure sharpen your focus. Let the sting of defeat calibrate your compass. Let the weight of disappointment strengthen your resolve. Because here is the ultimate truth. Those who take failure personally are destined to suffer more. They've redestined to succeed more profoundly. Your comeback story doesn't begin when you succeed. It begins the moment you decide that failure is no longer something that happens to you, but something that happens for you. So take it personally, very personally, because when you do, you'll discover that failure is your enemy the most powerful ally you've ever had in your journey toward becoming the person you were always capable of being. The world doesn't need more people who succeed, it needs more people who fail forward, who transform their wounds into wisdom, who convert their pain into power. It needs you to take failure personally, because only then will you understand that failure was never the end of your story. It was always just the beginning of your transformation. Take it personally. Your legacy depends on it.